You've been calling yourself lazy for years. You've said it so many times. It stopped feeling like a judgment. It started feeling like a fact. I'm just lazy. But here is what I need you to hear tonight. You are not lazy. You never were. What you are is someone who can feel the full weight of everything you're capable of, and it has been standing in your way ever since. There is a specific kind of paralysis that only visits people with potential, not the kind that comes from not caring, the kind that comes from caring too much, from wanting to do it right, from needing it to mean something, from the quiet terror of starting something and discovering you weren't as good as you hoped. Lazy people don't feel that. Lazy people don't lie awake at 2 a.m., running through everything they should have done. Lazy people don't have 17 tabs open, and a notes app full of ideas, and a graveyard of unfinished projects that each felt like too much, right at the moment they were about to become something real. That's not laziness. That's a mind that can see further than it currently knows how to walk. Let me tell you what's actually happening. Inside every person who has ever been called lazy or called themselves lazy, there is usually one of three things going on, sometimes all three at once. The first is perfectionism. Not the kind people brag about in job interviews, the real kind, the kind that makes starting feel impossible, because you can already see the finished version in your head. And the gap between that version and what you'll actually be able to produce right now feels unbearable. So you don't start. Not because you don't want it, because you want it too perfectly. The second thing is fear of visibility. This one hides. It doesn't announce itself. It just makes Netflix suddenly very important. Right when you are about to sit down and work, it makes you reorganize your desk, clean the kitchen, do literally anything, except the thing that would actually move your life forward. Because here's what visibility means. To a nervous system that learned early that being seen was dangerous. If you put your work out there, people can judge it. If people can judge it, they can reject it. And if they reject it, they're not just rejecting the work, they're rejecting the version of you that believed you were capable of something. That's not a small risk. That is the most vulnerable thing a human being can do. And your nervous system has been trying to protect you from it by keeping you still. The third thing is something researchers call ego depletion. Your brain has a finite amount of decision-making energy each day. When you are carrying stress, financial pressure, relationship weight, the mental load of managing a life that asks too much of you, by the time you sit down to do the thing that matters most, there is nothing left. You're not lazy, you're depleted. And depleted people, who push themselves to produce anyway, don't create their best work. They create guilt. They create the cycle of starting and stopping, and beating themselves up for stopping, which depletes them further, which makes starting even harder next time. The cruelest part of that cycle is that the shame becomes its own fuel. Not for doing the work, for avoiding it. Now here is where it gets deeper. Psychologists have studied what happens when people are told from childhood that they are smart, not that they work hard, that they are smart, gifted, talented, a natural. It sounds like a gift, but here is what it actually does. It ties your identity to your performance. If you are smart, then everything you do must prove that. Every attempt becomes a test, not of the work, of you. And when the stakes of every attempt are who you are, the safest thing to do is not attempt. This is what psychologist Carol Dweck spent decades studying. She called it a fixed mindset. The belief that ability is something you have or you don't. That effort is what people with less talent need. That trying and failing doesn't just mean the work failed, it means you failed. People with a fixed mindset would rather be seen as lazy than be seen as someone who tried and wasn't enough. Does that land? Because for some of you, that sentence just explained your entire life. And here is what it costs. Not the obvious things, not just the unfinished projects, not just the dreams deferred. The thing it costs that nobody talks about is the relationship you develop with yourself. Every time you don't do the thing, you add a small deposit to an account called I can't trust myself. You tell yourself you'll start Monday. Monday comes. You don't start. You tell yourself this weekend. This weekend comes. You find a reason. And slowly, without meaning to, you become someone who doesn't believe their own word. Someone who makes promises to themselves and knows on some level they won't keep them. That erosion is quiet, but it is one of the most painful things a person can carry, because you are not just losing time, you are losing faith in yourself. There is also something that happens in the body. When you avoid something that matters to you, your nervous system doesn't relax. It registers the avoidance as a threat unresolved. So the anxiety doesn't go away when you close the laptop. It follows you into the shower, into conversations, into the moments that should be restful. That low hum of, I should be doing something, I'm wasting my life, what is wrong with me? That is not laziness talking. That is potential knocking on a door. That fear has been holding shut. So let's talk about the hidden mechanism, the thing underneath the paralysis that nobody sees. Here it is. You have a vision of yourself that is bigger than your current reality. And the distance between those two things feels like failure before you've even begun. Most people don't have that problem. Most people aren't tormented by the gap because they don't have the vision to see it. You do. And that vision, that clarity about what you could become, what you could build, what you could create, it is not your enemy. It is the most important thing about you. The problem is not the vision. The problem is that you've been using the distance between where you are and where you can see yourself going as evidence that you'll never get there, instead of using it as a map. Here is the reframe. Potential is not a promise. It is a pressure. And pressure, without the right container, becomes paralysis. The people who move through this are not the ones with more discipline. They are not the ones who suddenly found motivation. They are the ones who stopped waiting to feel ready and started building tolerance for the discomfort of beginning. Because beginning is always uncomfortable. Beginning means the work exists in the world now. Beginning means it can be seen. Beginning means you have to find out whether you're as capable as you hope. And that is terrifying. But here is what the other side of that terror looks like. It looks like a person who finally trusts themselves, not because they became perfect, but because they kept a promise to themselves. Once, and then again, and then again, until the account that used to say, I can't trust myself, slowly started reading something different. You don't need a productivity system. You don't need a new planner. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. You need one small, unkept promise, kept. Just one. Not the big thing, not the whole project, not the finished version, the first 5 minutes, the first paragraph, the first sketch, the first message sent, done imperfectly, done incompletely, done anyway. Because the antidote to paralysis is not motivation, it is evidence. Evidence that you can begin. Evidence that beginning doesn't kill you. Evidence that the work doesn't have to be perfect to be worth doing. You were never lazy. You were protecting something. The tender, fragile belief that you might actually be capable of something great. And you were so afraid of finding out you weren't that you never let yourself find out you were. That protection made sense for a while. But you have been standing at the edge of your own life long enough. The version of you that you keep imagining, the one who finally did the thing, who finally started, who finally showed up for herself. She didn't wait until she was ready. She started terrified. She started imperfect. She started on a Tuesday afternoon when nothing felt right and everything felt too big. And she did 5 minutes anyway, and then 5 more. And that was the day everything changed. Not because the work was perfect, but because she finally stopped lying to herself about what she was. She wasn't lazy. She never was. And neither are you. Your mind had a reason for every moment you stood still, and your mind has a reason for finally moving.